Well, here we are at Haydock on Carlisle for Saturday's racing. It's going to be an all-northern affair as we'll be off to Beverley for a couple of the sprints, but after the false ground scuppered things up at Merseyside last week, the transferred races are on today's card. So, here we go. For what must be Carlisle's biggest racing Saturday in memory. On the TV too. So, dress accordingly, ladies. Of course, it is the French Derby on Sunday, the Prix du Jockey Club at Chantilly. So do tune in to get Marie-François's expert analysis on that. There has been lots of social media comment over the draw handed to anti-post favourite Constitution River, so this is bound to be a must-not-miss race. But to get things underway at Carlisle, this looks an excellent chance for William Haggas's opportunity to get off the mark this term. Not beaten far at Ascot 3 weeks back, making progress in the final furlong to finish a 2.5 length third. I would think he's entitled to come on for that run, where this well-built colt does look one for staying trips, and may well be ahead of this mark in handicaps. Charlie Johnston's filly Gaia has claims after winning at Doncaster, and Ed Bethel's Rogue Millions would be my each-way angle, but opportunity should prove a tough nut to crack. Next up, I'm going to take an each-way chance on Paul Migley's Grant Wood for this Reverence handicap. This looks a decent chance to get into the money as at generous each-way odds, given that it doesn't look the strongest race on paper, with plenty in this lineup having questions to answer. Grant Wood gets his conditions here, and coming out of stall 4 for this 6-furlong trip has the best draw on trends analysis, where early pace is key, so for all that I'll take the chance this Caravaggio gelding can continue a decent run of form, and place at the very least. I guess William Haggas's rear line should be given another chance after an underwhelming run at Newmarket, and in form Carl Burke has the unexposed turf handicap a recency bias, completing my list of 3. My Saturday nap goes in the Achilles Stakes. I'm going to give a chance to Ed Walker's Celandine for this listed contest, as it's pretty key here at Carlisle to get a low draw and plenty of pace on from the off, especially in bigger fields, so this Kingman filly looks ideally placed to make the most of these conditions under Kieran Schumacher for last year's winning yard. Clive Cox's Red Orange lines up on the back of a win at Windsor, where Ross Orion didn't exactly knock the spots off him to win that Class 2 race. So, I'd have him down as the big danger with William Buick booked. While Kevin Ryan's Washington Heights couldn't find a way through in the Palace House Stakes at Newmarket, but could make a bold bid from the front with a clearer run here. Actually, this is a bit of a cracker with Breeders' Cup winner Starlust back on track and plenty of others in with a shout, but the gut feeling is Celandine, so fingers crossed. My next best is over at Beverley, in the 2-year-old Trophy EBF Conditions Stakes. Course and distance winner on debut, Matteo should be very hard to beat if repeating the form from his April run. What really impressed me though was how well he knew his job. And to be frank, that debut appearance was a winning one well before the furlong pole. Now, I do always advise caution on early form with 2-year-olds, as they are juvenile and prone to in-and-out performances, with undiscovered niggles also tending to show up on that second run, but with Matteo, I'm throwing all caution to the wind. Arapaho Gold, for Michael Dodds, who does so well with his sprinters, would be my danger, if you're looking for the forecast. As some of you do, but I'm convinced on this next best. Good to firm ground, same track, in the prime section of the draw, what could possibly go wrong? Matteo it is. Just a bit earlier, in the Hilary Needler Trophy Stakes, I am only hoping that Clifford Lee can get Cody Bear Light off to a flyer here at Beverley. Coming out of stall 10 isn't the greatest place to be over this sharp 5-furlong dash. But this Cody Bear filly showed plenty of pace from the off at Thirsk 2 weeks ago, so more of the same please. Archie Watson's Cosmic Mystery cost a pretty penny at the breeze-ups, and has a very advantageous draw in stall 2, so this Havana Grey filly makes an interesting debutante, and I suppose I would have to put Richard Fahey's Crystal Queen onto my list of possibles. Richard Hannon's Roll the Dice Baby wouldn't be a huge surprise to figure 2, but I'm sticking on Cody Bear Light, despite the wide draw. For the Leicester Piggott Fillies Stakes, I cannot get away from David O'Meara's Estrange. With the relocation of this Group 3 from Haydock Park, that's a small negative for Estrange, being 2 from 2 at the Merseyside track. But, that's the only real negative point in my book, as this runner-up in the British Champions Fillies and Mares Stakes from Ascot's October meeting, is all class, so it is Estrange that they all have to aim at despite being on a new course. I would think that Owen Burrows would hold the best chance of making a proper race of it with Azania and Wada, and both could have more to offer this year at 4, while John and Thady Gosden's Crepe Suzette wasn't liking Goodwood on her seasonal reappearance, but was generally progressive last season, so has to be shortlisted. Not the easiest ride at times, but Estrange is real quality, and I'm sure Danny Tudhope has got all the angles covered. The next of our transferred races from Haydock Park is the Silver Bowl Handicap. Well, our J seller gave Langstone for this race last week at Haydock, only for it to be postponed due to the ground concerns. And, given she's our 2025 #1 flat tipster, I dare not disagree with the lass. So Langstone it is for the Silver Bowl. I must say, after a tremendous week of summer weather, the going may be even better for Clive Cox's Mason Grey gelding, but that's something we're going to find out on Saturday. William Haggas's Princeling, Jack Channon's Crest of Fire and Hugo Palmer's Laureate Crown are all likely types, but let's stick with Langstone.